Whoa, here we go. Did that rhyme? You guys know what to do. Okay, I'm kind of a fan of Motorhead, so I love the Ace of Spades. Okay, you guys make sure you check that out. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on Fun Facts with
Notes.
and the King. You guys find us all over on social media. You guys can find us audio, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're working on that. Notes, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm feeling good, feeling strong.
Feeling good, eh? I'm feeling the heat, man. Um, so Notes, last week, or last episode, sorry, I had a fun fact for you, and we got pretty deep into it. But now it's your turn. You're up. Batter up.
Okay.
What do you got for us this week? Educate us, please.
Well, I've got an interesting fact about the world of playing cards, which I guess you teased a little bit with your intro there. Did you know that the face cards in a deck of cards are actually based on historical persons?
Hmm.
So the king, the queen, the jack, they're all representative of historical people.
Okay. Oh, wow, that brings up a bunch of questions. Do you think it's because of the westernization, the British at some point with the colonization of the deck of cards that they would want to put the king, the queen, the prince, and the jester, which is also known as the Joker. You want to know how I got these cards? Um, it, is that the reasoning what it's for? And can you please tell me which historical figures were were the reasoning behind the king, the queen, and the jack, the face cards as we know them?
Yeah, well, as cards developed, there were hundreds and hundreds of variations, hundreds and hundreds of different styles. The deck that we are commonly familiar with was literally one of maybe thousands of different types of decks. There were different suits, there was different face cards, all sorts of variations. If you even think of the tarot deck, it was really just an older set of playing cards. But around the 17th century, the French style of playing cards becomes dominant. It becomes the most widely used a set of cards that there is out there. And there was all sorts of different trends and traditions. You know, you would have different types of artwork, kings and queens being represented from different eras and different types of clothing and stuff like that. But slowly and somewhat organically, the French deck became the standard. And at one point, they released a special edition where they named each of the face cards after a particular historical person. And those cards, for whatever reason, just became the European and North American standard. You'll still find different decks if you go to Italy or North Africa, places like that. There's like different styles of playing cards that they use in Spain as well. But of course, all over the world, people play poker and all the other card games. It was actually what was it? Whist was the game that was globally popular that sort of led to the establishment of this style of deck. Whist is also known as I'm drawing a blank here. Another very common card game.
It wasn't Sabak in a galaxy long time ago and far, far away.
No. Is that how he lost the Millennium Falcon, playing
Yeah,
Sabak?
yeah.
So yeah, And it was just like a trend. It was just a particular deck that was produced that just became wildly popular and ended up becoming the international standard.
That's interesting because what they did, uh, what what I understand is that the backside of the cards, right? The reason why it has so much going on is because at some point people could see through the card, right?
Mm,
Now, as someone that can count cards, oh,
mm,
that would be a blessing. I would love it, right?
yeah.
But that's hence the reasoning for that. I was not aware of that, bro.
Well, that's one reasoning too. Is also when you use a deck of cards over time, there's wear and tear. There
Yeah.
can be some marks and stuff like that. And these complicated patterns on the backs of the cards makes it harder to see any sort of. It makes it harder to tell and read the cards. And it's also a way for the different card makers to put their logo and their brand on it.
Well, the
Uh,
bicycle brand I know was what is American, but
this correct. It's I can't remember the name of the company, but they make 90% of the playing cards in the world now. Like every
bicycle,
major brand, but including Bicycle.
bicycle.
Yeah, yeah.
But also it's interesting that you say that like with the backing on it because when cards did come around, I believe that was in the ninth century. This is up for debate, ladies and gentlemen. But it's believed to come from China, right?
Yeah,
And
it did. It did. Yeah, absolutely did.
and then in the ninth century, like, come on, it's the ninth century. People are still trying to figure out a wheel, right?
I
Uh,
think they've got the wheel figured out by then.
but it was pretty lawless, so you would kind of need that as like a defense mechanism, like, right, just so you don't get shot or whatever, just so people know you're not cheating, right? Do you think that had any effect of like the backing of it, or even I don't
I think the backing is a fairly recent invention or innovation in cards, as is the sort of two-headedness of the cards.
yeah.
You know, so that way you can flip them over either way, and both parties can read them. That again is fairly recent, I believe, from the 19th century, uh, which is kind of mid 19th century, 1800s is when most of the factors that we would recognize as the modern playing card are sort of in place. The Ace of Spades itself, has an interesting history. It's the one card, right? It represents the number one. Ace was what they called the one dot on the domino or on dice. That's also known as the ace. But it became a prominent card because there was a tax. I believe the British put a tax on playing cards. And the ace card, because it was the lowest value card, was where they put the stamp, I believe, to show that the tax had been paid and these were authorized cards and such. So the ace starts to get this sort of prominence that it didn't really have numerically.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, you're
Again,
digging into the fun facts. Go on, go on, go, please go on. I'm learning. I want to hear
yeah,
about this. I want to hear more about the royalty
sure. So
on the face
I can break it down for you really quickly.
Please do.
The King of Spades is supposed to represent King David. Nice, he's got them ready. Next up, you've got the King of Hearts, who
that guy's a little bit chunky.
Yeah, is supposed to be Charlemagne, Carlos Magnus, the leader of the Holy Roman Empire. He's also known as the Suicide King.
What? What? Okay.
Well, hold the card up. Let's see the card you have for the King of Hearts.
Focus.
I can't really see it. It's a little bit of glare, but he's traditionally holding the sword kind of behind his head like this.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, he is.
And there were some misprints where it actually looks like the sword is kind of going into his head. And so this sort of urban legend sprung up that he represented a king that had committed suicide.
Mm.
uh, based on a misprint. And Charlemagne certainly didn't commit suicide. The King of Diamonds, someone you may have heard of, a guy named Julius Caesar.
Wait, that's Caesar?
That's supposed to be Caesar. I mean, they're all sort of, I don't know what style of clothing, Edwardian, no, anyway, sort of medieval regalia, but it's supposed to be Caesar. And
Interesting.
and lastly, we've got the King of Clubs, and that's supposed to be Alexander the Great.
Honestly, this is my favorite looking king in the
Oh
whole
yeah,
in the whole deck. Yeah.
why is that?
I don't know. He just looks cool. He looks like I can chill with him,
Looks like he gets
right?
stuff done.
King of Spades looks drunk. This guy looks cool. I can hang out with him. King of Hearts, he looks like, yeah, he might off himself at any point. Like, I can't sit down and have a beer with him. But these guys, that's interesting.
He's the most stable.
Do you have any like any ideas on other of the faces?
Well, you got the queens.
Oh yeah. A king's
So if
always
you,
got a queen.
yeah, king's always got a queen. So you've got Queen of Spades. That's actually supposed to represent a goddess, Pallas Athena,
Ooh.
the most prominent of the Greek female gods.
Athena, the god of war?
Athena was a goddess of a lot of things. Wisdom, I think, was her jam.
Her jam. Wow. Okay, and what about another queen? Do you have any ideas about other queens?
Hearts apparently represents Judith from the Bible. I don't know much about Judith. Queen of Diamonds, also from the Bible. You've got is Rachel, who was the wife of Jacob.
Wow.
Yeah, and clubs is sort of I don't know if they just ran out of. They just kind of phoned clubs in. It's supposed to be a Queen Argene. Argene, which is just an anagram for Regina, which means queen, and is not an historical queen at all. I don't know why they just kind of. But the original version of these cards had the names on the cards as well.